Chapter 3 The Woods Trail. Grating her teeth against the pain and keeping her walking stick ahead of her to slow her progress, Charlie manages to get down the rest of the hill. The bottom the trail levels out and crosses the embankment that separates Hawk Pond, the first of two feeder ponds, from the lake. The trail here is easy walking compared to the hill Charlie has just come down, and the even steeper hill she'll have to climb on the other side. She's just thinking how grateful she is for this when she notices that the greenery crowding the trail on both sides is dark and shiny and three-leaved. Someone has been keeping the trail open, but just barely. Poison ivy is pushing in toward her bare arms and legs. There's more poison ivy out there than kudzu and barbed wire vine and honeysuckle put together. Charlie catches her breath and stops. No. She does not want this voice, this clear and unmistakable voice in her head. This is what she has been afraid of, why she doesn't walk the trail. It's too late not to have heard it. She is here at the wild end of the lake, right in the middle of her mother's world, here where her mother used to come day after day, season after season, year after year, to take the nature photographs that made her famous, the photographs that eventually took her away forever. Charlie shakes her head as if she can shake memory away. Focus, she tells herself firmly. Pay attention to this moment, to the reason you are here, nothing else. Since the day her father, his face gray, turned from the telephone to tell her about the plane crash in the Brazilian rainforest, Charlie has worked at closing down the past. She has gotten very good at it. Ahead of her, Sadie is standing chest deep in the pond drinking. Charlie looks around for the wild dog. He is nowhere to be seen. This is crazy, she thinks. Just crazy. If it weren't for the wild dog, she would have never come here, stirred up memories, raised her mother's voice in her mind. She swallows hard a couple of times around the sharpness in her throat, and then begins moving carefully forward, concentrating on staying in the very middle of the trail, using her walking stick to fend off the poison ivy that seems to be reaching out at her. She will have to remember to wash really well when she gets home and hope for the best. When she reaches the end of the ivy patch, she crosses the water trickling into a foot-wide crack in the concrete spillway between pond and lake, and stands for a moment facing the hill ahead of her. She needs to rest before tackling it. A tree has fallen into the pond, dragging up a mess of red dirt where its roots broke free of the hillside. The roots reach out toward the trail. She grabs one and pulls herself up the first steep rise, pushing with her stick. Then she manages to clamber onto the wide trunk that stretches like a bench toward the water, and she sits, aware of the throbbing in her leg, doing her best to keep her mind on this moment. It is no good. She is looking across the water as her mother used to, camera poised, waiting for a heron to come stalking through the reeds, a kingfisher to settle on a branch over the water, or the pond's resident muskrat to come out of his den beneath the embankment. Even now a photograph of that muskrat, nose barely breaking the water's surface, early sunlight glinting on the ripples that V out behind, hangs on the wall of the lake room. The day of the funeral, Charlie took every single one of her mother's photographs down from the wall of her room, but her father left others up all over the house. She has learned to live among them without seeing them. She shifts her gaze away from the pond and sees the wild dog at the other side of the poison ivy patch, about to come through. She catches her looking at him, and he stops. He looks like what he is, a starving, frightened, probably abused dog. There is nothing beautiful, nothing magical about him. What has she been thinking? Sadie comes up out of the pond, shakes water all over Charlie. Then she runs back through the ivy to pounce on the wild dog. The two of them tussle briefly, and Sadie comes running back. The wild dog doesn't come with her. He is standing up the far hill now, sheltered by the trees. Charlie remembers she has promised him food. She doesn't break promises. Anyway, she is already here, has already shaken the memories loose. She will rest till her leg is ready to climb this hill, and then she will keep her concentration carefully on each step as she takes step she takes all the way home. She can. She will. Sadie has already gone ahead up the trail. "Come on," she calls to the wild dog. At the sound of her voice, he vanishes into the shadows again. If this dog can't stand her looking at him, can't stand the sound of her voice, Charlie thinks, she won't be able to save him anyway, won't be able to give him a home. Suit yourself, she yells at him. I don't want him, she tells herself as she slides off the fallen tree and starts up the hill. This is the steepest part of the trail, more cliff than hill, in spite of the trees and shrubs growing from between the rocks. She has to use both hands here, one for her walking stick and the other to hold on to saplings and roots and branches and anything else to drag herself upward and keep her from slipping back. When the trail levels off along a ridge about 2/3 the way up the hill, the walking becomes easier again. Possible, at least. She has just managed to get over a gully that has carved a nearly 3-foot gap in the trail when she looks up and sees a tree leaning low over the path, the limbo tree. She stops, her mother's voice in her head again. Jack be limbo, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the limbo stick. She can almost see her mother now, setting her equipment on the ground, bending backward, doing the limbo under the tree. Memory rushes in, herself so little she could walk upright under this tree. And then the day she discovers she'd grown enough to have to bend herself backwards the way her mother did. The day her mother took a picture of her doing the limbo for the first time. Charlie shakes her head again. Nothing but a downed tree, she tells herself. One of the hundreds of trees Hurricane Hugo and its tornadoes toppled all around Eagle Lake. It's just one that happened to get its topmost branches caught among the standing trees so that it didn't fall all the way to the ground. That's all. The tree is leaning closer to the ground than she remembers, or maybe it's in these 2 years she has grown that much taller. Its bark is falling off in chunks, and the tree itself is disintegrating. There are bits of dark, rotted wood littering the trail. Sadie comes thundering back down the trail as if she wants to know why Charlie has stopped. I'm coming, Charlie tells her. Then slowly and deliberately she bends forward, not back, to duck under the tree.